کے غلاموں کا کفن میلا نہیں ہوتا، زمین میلی نہیں ہوتی، زمن میلا نہیں ہوتا، محمد کے غلاموں کا کفن میلا نہیں ہوتا۔ محبت کملی والے سے وہ جذبہ ہے سنو لوگو، محبت کملی والے سے وہ جذبہ ہے سنو لوگو، یہ جس من میں سما جائے وہ من میلا نہیں ہوتا، زمین میلی نہیں ہوتی، زمن میلا نہیں ہوتا۔ نبی کا نام جو چومے نہیں دکھتی کبھی آنکھیں، نبی کا نام جو چومے نہیں دکھتی کبھی آنکھیں، پہن لے پیار جو ان کا بدن میلا نہیں ہوتا، پہن لے پیار جو ان کا بدن میلا نہیں ہوتا، زمین میلی نہیں ہوتی، زمن میلا نہیں ہوتا۔ نبی کی آل کا دامن پکڑ لو اے جہاں والو، نبی کی آل کا دامن پکڑ لو اے جہاں والو، رہے جب تک یہ دامن میں چلن میلا نہیں ہوتا، زمین میلی نہیں ہوتی، زمن میلا نہیں ہوتا، محمد کے غلاموں کا کفن میلا نہیں ہوتا، محمد کے غلاموں کا کفن میلا نہیں ہوتا۔
بس نہیں بے سہارا
راستے میں اگر پاؤں تھک جائیں گے، جیسے ہی سبز گنبد نظر آئے گا، بندگی کا کرینہ بدل جائے گا، جیسے ہی سبز گنبد نظر آئے گا، بندگی کا کرینہ بدل جائے گا، سر جھکانے کی فرصت ملے گی کسے، خود ہی آنکھوں سے سجدے ٹپک جائیں گے، سر جھکانے کی فرصت ملے گی کسے، خود ہی آنکھوں سے سجدے ٹپک جائیں گے، ہم مدینے میں تنہا نکل جائیں گے، اور گلیوں میں قصداً بھٹک جائیں گے، ہم مدینے میں تنہا نکل جائیں گے، اور گلیوں میں قصداً بھٹک جائیں گے، ہم وہاں جا کے واپس نہیں آئیں گے، ہم وہاں جا کے واپس نہیں آئیں گے، ڈھونڈتے ڈھونڈتے لوگ تک جائیں گے، ہم وہاں جا کے واپس نہیں آئیں گے، ڈھونڈتے ڈھونڈتے لوگ تھک جائیں گے، نام ان کا جہاں بھی لیا جائے گا، ذکر ان کا جہاں بھی کیا جائے گا، نام ان کا جہاں بھی لیا جائے گا، ذکر ان کا جہاں بھی کیا جائے گا، نور ہی نور سینوں میں بھر جائے گا، ساری محفل میں جلوے لپک جائیں گے، نور ہی نور سینوں میں بھر جائے گا، ساری محفل میں جلوے لپک جائیں گے، فاصلوں کو تکلف ہے ہم سے اگر، ہم بھی بے بس نہیں، بے سہارا نہیں، خود انہی کو پکاریں گے ہم دور سے، راستے میں اگر پاؤں تھک جائیں گے، راستے میں اگر پاؤں تھک جائیں گے، صلی اللہ علیہ یا رسول اللہ، سلام علیہ یا حبیب
کیا ہو اہل صفا پہنچے محبوب خدا دیکھتے کیا ہو اہل صفا پہنچے محبوب خدا یعنی ہو چکے جلوہ نما یعنی ہو چکے جلوہ نما شاہ حق شاہ بدہا لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ آمنا برسول اللہ everyone لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ مالک جنت آ پہنچے قاسم نعمت آ پہنچے مالک جنت آ پہنچے قاسم نعمت آ پہنچے والی امت آ پہنچے والی امت آ پہنچے رب کی رحمت آ پہنچے دیکھتے کیا ہو اہل صفا پہنچے محبوب خدا یعنی ہو چکے جلوہ نما یعنی ہو چکے جلوہ نما شاہ حق شاہ بدہا لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ آمنا برسول اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ اپنے عاجز غلام کا سنیے سلام بے نوا تشن کاموں کا سنیے سلام خوش بیاں خوش کلاموں کا سنیے سلام مقتدیوں اماموں کا سنیے سلام خاتم الانبیاء ہو سلام آپ پر خاتم الانبیاء ہو سلام آپ پر یا رسول خدا ہو سلام آپ پر ساقیے کوثر بیر خدا آج تو ایسا جام پلا آج تو ایسا جام پلا اٹھ جائے پردہ جدائی کا اٹھ جائے پردہ جدائی کا جلوہ زیبا ہم کو دکھا دیکھتے کیا ہو اہل صفا پہنچے محبوب خدا یعنی ہو چکے جلوہ نما شاہ حق شاہ بدہا لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ آمنا برسول اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ لا الہ الا اللہ
join in at least in the chorus, inshallah. I'm sure once we start, you all will listen.
چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن ہے تم پہ فدا سب تن من دن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن ہے تم پہ فدا سب تن من دن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن اجمیر مجھے پہنچا دے خدا چادر میں چڑھاؤں پھولوں کی اجمیر مجھے پہنچا دے خدا چادر میں چڑھاؤں پھولوں کی یہ صدقہ کروں تن من اپنا یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن فرزند علی ہو نور نبی محبوب خدا ہے ذات تیری فرزند علی ہو نور نبی محبوب خدا ہے ذات تیری ایک بار دکھا روزہ اپنا یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن اس سر کو جھکا پائے دشمن یہ اس کے بس کی بات نہیں اس سر کو جھکا پائے دشمن یہ اس کے بس کی بات نہیں جس پر ہو تیرے قدموں کی مہر یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن کعبہ ہو مدینہ ہو یا نجف ہر سمت نظر تم آتے ہو کعبہ ہو مدینہ ہو یا نجف ہر تم خواجہ اور ابن صحیح ہو تم خواجہ ولیوں کے ولی ہو تم خواجہ اور ابن صحیح ہو تم خواجہ تم آل نبی تم آل نبی اولاد علی یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن آقا کی عطا وہ نور علی زہرا کی گلی ولیوں کے ولی آقا کی عطا وہ نور علی زہرا کی گلی ولیوں کے ولی آقا کی عطا وہ نور علی زہرا کی گلی ولیوں کے ولی حسنین کے دل حسنین کے دل عثمان کے نیم یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن ہے تم پہ فدا ہے تم پہ فدا سب تن من دھن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن چھوٹے نہ کبھی چھوٹے نہ کبھی تیرا دامن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن ہے تم پہ فدا ہے تم پہ فدا سب تن من دھن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن یا خواجہ معین الدین حسن اللہم صلی علی المصطفى 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 الله المدد المدد يا رسول الله المدد المدد يا رسول الله واسقينا بالمدد يا حبيب الله واسقينا بالمدد يا حبيب الله اللهم صل على المصطفى اللهم صل على المصطفى حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So, welcome to today's monthly Ghiyarvin, and the topic for today will be the life of Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. This is the month when they passed away, and this is the month when they commemorate the oaths. And we're blessed today to have our guest speaker, Ustadh Karam Rehman. Ustadh Karam began studying a number of years ago, and he studied in Jamia and currently he is pursuing higher studies in Dars exam works with Mufti Wajid Iqbal, as well as this he is also studying in university and inshallah going to pursue a career of medicine. Make dua for him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make his studies easy for him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him ilmun nafi, beneficial knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to benefit from him. Without further ado, so Ustadh Karam.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والله تعالى في القرآن الكريم والفرقان الحميد ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We are remembering today one of the greatest awliya from this ummah, and none other than Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. As I was sat down and listened to the beautiful qasaid from the Munshid, a couple of things came to mind. First and foremost, why is it that we're here remembering such an individual that passed away nearly 800 years ago? Why is it that we're here? Why is it that we have this monthly Ghiyarvin remembering Rose Park? Why is it that we're here and we remember the likes of Allah Hazrat, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi? Why is it that we're here and we're remembering these great figures? What is it that there's so special about them? What's their khasiyah? Why is it that we make time every single month to sit in these gatherings to remember them? And one thing came to my mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, فاذكروني أذكركم. It's a promise of Allah. That you remember Allah, Allah remembers you. So the likes of Rospa, the likes of Allah Hazrat, the likes of Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, all of these great individuals, what did they do in their lives? They remembered Allah. They guided people towards Allah. They repented to Allah. They brought about a change in their community. They guided masses and masses. the likes of Khawajah Gharib Nawaz guided 9 million people towards Allah. So the promise of Allah is what? You remember him and he remembers you, even after you leave this dunya. And that is why we are remembering him. Rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. So the best way to be remembered in this dunya after we leave is to remember Allah. Because when you're beloved of Allah, look how every single one of us here today. We've made time, got our mums to iron our jubeh nicely, ironed our jubeh, ironed our scarves. We made time, put Hadra on. We're remembering these kind of people. But these kind of people, you have to remember what kind of reality they have. Their reality is not like ours. Their realities are completely different. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he was born in 537 Hijri. And what's beautiful about Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he's a Sayyid. But he's a Hassani and he's a Husseini Sayyid. So from both sides, from maternal and paternal, the genealogy is a match. And they are a beautiful Sayyid. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, their father was regarded as a wealthy individual, as an educated individual, and their mother was also someone that was very, very pious. And this is something to notice, right? For those that are single or married, when you look at a spouse, what was the first thing that the Prophet Muhammad said for both sides? For the woman to look for a man and a man to look for a woman, what was the common denominator from both? Is deen, is religion. And the reason why is because you bring about the force of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. Both parents were educated, both parents were pious. And when the environment at home is beautiful, then no doubt the children are beautiful.
Subhanallah.
And when the environment at home is sincere and is built upon the love of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no doubt the children in that house, they are lovers of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the fathers of Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, they were very wealthy. And they left behind mills and orchards. And Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he inherited from his father. His father passed away at 15 years old. So after the years of 15 years old, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he lived in this manner. He lived in a life where he was irrigating trees himself, he was planting himself. And what happened after this? One day, there was a saint that came to the area that Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz was working at, the age of 15 years old. And he was watering plants one day. And his pious saint came, an individual called Sayyidina Ibrahim Qandusi, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. A great wali of Allah came while Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz was busy in his day-to-day life. And as he came, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz noticed that this individual was beautiful. He had a special aura about him. And the men of Allah, the awliya of Allah, they have this khasiyah, right? You see someone that's pious, you see someone that's noble, they have nur in their face. And someone that's the opposite, they have a lanat, like you say, they have a lanat on their face. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us free from that. Ameen. But this is the reality. And Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he saw someone that was beautiful, he came. And he sat this individual down next to the tree. And he, straight away, what's the first thing he thought of was, how can I show my hospitality? So he brought them a bunch of grapes. And he sat down, he kneeled down, whilst this saint was with him. And as he gave him this, the saint noticed that Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz showed him beautiful adab. So whilst he was sat down, he got a piece of bread from his bag and he started eating it. And after he ate it, there was a little bit left. And he offered it to Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. He said, take from this. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he ate. And this is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know from the tahni, and we also know in the time of the Prophet others, there was one story that I came across. There was one day where there was a slave and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was eating. And he offered to the slave. And the slave said, I don't want that one, I want the one that's coming from your mouth. The leftover mouth. So this was the son of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the saint, he offered to give some Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, and he ate from this. And it is said that when Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz ate from the leftovers from this awliya, what happened? The inner reality of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz had changed. Had transformed. And the look of this dunya had changed. There was a distastement towards dunya. And he just focused purely from that point on towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's when his embarkment upon studying the deen of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam began. He realized himself that this dunya, what is it? وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مُتَاعُ. What's the reality of the dunya? It's just the enjoyment of delusion. So he realized, I want to study this deen. So From this, even in this example, you see the adab of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. And he shows you the adab that you're meant to have with the ulama. When Mustafa comes in, everyone stands up. Yeah? That's a sign, a reverence, a respect for someone who has spent his life remembering Allah and remembering Muhammad. So Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he shows us this, the adab that you're meant to have with the elderly. The Prophet Muhammad he says, Man lam yarham saghirana wa ya'rif haqqa kabirana falaysa minna. The one who does not show mercy to the youth and does not show the rights of the elders, falaysa minna. He is not from us. Who does not want to be with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz shows us this. He starts studying, and he starts studying at the age of 15, and he travels to Samarkand and he starts studying in the court of Maulana Sharfuddin. He becomes a hafiz of the Quran, and he excels in other branches of knowledge. And the more he learned, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, the more the thirst for his knowledge grew. Right? And he traveled to the likes of Syria, to Baghdad, to Samarkand. And this reality of studying is not the reality that we have today. Right? Online lessons that Ustadh Umer is doing, and Ustadh Mustafa is doing, the Mustafa is doing online. The knowledge that we have now is so accessible. The likes of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, they'd have to leave their houses, they'd have to leave the comfort of their homes, their families, their friends, and they would go years studying. I remember our teachers would tell us that their teachers, our grand teachers, when they would go to study, they would say to their family and friends, don't contact me. Whatever you send me in terms of letters, I'm not reading them. So much so that our grand teachers and their teachers, when they would go to travel to study, the family would write them letters. So let's say after 5, 6, 7 years of intense study, they would not speak to anyone. They'd come out of their hibernation of studying and they'd look at all the letters. They'd find out that the aunties passed away, the uncles passed away, so-and-so had a baby. That was the reality of the studying. The reality of the studying was that intense. And that was the life of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. They would spend intense periods of time studying. And while Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he studied the fiqh issues of this deen. He realized that there was something else he yearned for. Right? Fiqh and aqidah, like Ustadh Umer would know, it only gives you so much. Anyone else that studies fiqh and aqidah, they're just tools. You realize that there's so much more to this religion. Our religion is a beautiful religion. And our religion, you can't just study a fiqh course and aqidah course and expect to be someone who's pious. Right? Real knowledge that our teachers say lies in the hearts of awliya. Right? The only taste you're going to get from knowledge is when you're sat in front of a scholar, who is sat in front of a scholar, who is sat in front of another scholar, who is sat in front of another scholar, all the way to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is where pure knowledge comes from. You're sat in front of a person who studied this deen, and this knowledge is living. The deen is living. It's not in books. Wallahi, the deen is not in books. It's in the hearts of the awliya. So when the likes of Mufti Sahib come, and they have to do with their Mufti Sahib, and all the way that chain, that isnad to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's deen, right here. And he recognizes. He recognizes that these branches of knowledge, there's so much more to deen. So he goes and he tries to find a murshid. He goes and he tries to find a pir. And what does he do? He travels to Hijaz from Bukhara. And on the way he goes to Nishabur, to Iran. And he hears about an area called Hawan. And he hears that there's a qutb, that there's a pir in this town that is a pir Kami. And he wants to find out about this individual. This individual's name was Sayyidina Usman Harwani Chisti. And Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz took bay'ah with this individual. And he spent many years with this murshid. He spent about 20 years. Wherever the pir went, they would follow. And they would travel, and they would take their bags, they would carry their shoulders. They went on this intensive training, this spiritual training. And they went to Hajj with them as well. And they had so much love from their teacher that their teacher would say, our Mu'inuddin is a beloved of Allah, and we are proud of our disciples. Right? There's one thing you claim in your teachers, there's another thing your teacher being proud of you. Yeah? Many people say, I studied with such and such a teacher. You ask the teacher, say, I don't know these guys. Yeah? We like making claims that we're this murid, and we're this murid, and we got this title, and we're Chisti, and we're Qadri, and we got Yemeni scholars, so we like Yemeni scholars. It's not about that. it's about who your teachers are proud of. And their teachers were proud of saying Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. And I remember the first thing I did when I began studying, I went and asked my teacher, give me some nasiha, what do I do? First thing he said, become a lover of your teacher. Become beloved of your teacher, that's the only thing. Why? Because the teacher offers you more than the books. As I mentioned, the teacher offers you more than the books. The teacher, he makes a dua for the students that they become better than him. So if you're the beloved of your teacher, you're number one on that list. Forget all the other classmates, you become number one. So he travels to Medina afterwards. And when he arrives, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he says, As-salatu wa-salamu alayk ya Sayyid al-Mursaleen wa Khatam al-Nabiyyin. And as Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz says this, he hears a spiritual reply, which is said, Wa alaykum as-salam ya Qutb al-Mashayikh. And peace be upon you, or the Qutb, or the leader of the Mashayikh. He hears a spiritual inspiration. He hears a call to him that says, O Mu'inuddin, you are a helper of our deen, you are an honored authority of India, it is entrusted upon you to go to Ajmer. And you will be a source of eliminating, disbeliefs in that town, and you will revive Islam and you will propagate it thoroughly. And this was a stamp of approval from the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It was his order that he goes to Ajmer. He goes to India and he meets hundreds of students, he meets hundreds of scholars, he meets hundreds of awliya. He sits at the court of Ghospa for 5 months, taking blessings. He sits at the court of Sayyidina Dr. Baksh Ali Hajwer for 40 days, taking blessings. Here he's showing us that the level of awliya, the respect and the ihtiram man have for awliya. Speaking of awliya, I want to thank our teacher Mustafa for giving us this opportunity. So, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he sits at the maqam of these great individuals. I'm just going to take a little bit more time because I want to speak for myself. But I'm just going to mention a few habits that we can learn from Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, they were an individual who worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all night. And they would pray the Salah of Fajr with the same wudu from the Salah of Isha. Because they would spend all night praying towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had a strong inclination towards the Quran. They would recite and said 2 Qurans a day. And whenever they would travel, they would recite the Quran. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he would take good care of his neighbors. To look after his neighbors. And if it was ever found out that there was a neighbor that would pass away, they would go to the janazah, they would return after the janazah, and they would sit at the qabr of that individual and they would pray for their forgiveness. And they would go to the family and they would tell them to observe patience. Something that was also beautiful was in the Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. One of his companions, his disciples, he said, whenever I sat with Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, in all my years, I never ever heard him disclose anyone's secrets. He would never tell anyone's secrets. And this is in a line with the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man satara musliman satara Allahu yawm al-qiyamah." The one who covers the sins of another person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover his sins on yawm al-qiyamah. So you see the life of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, they were completely in line with the Quran and the Sunnah. And as I mentioned at the start, أذكروني أذكركم. They remembered Allah, they propagated the beauty of this deen, and they were fully in alignment with the Sunnah of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, he was teaching, and he was preaching towards his students. And every so often, when they would look to the right hand side, they would stand up, and they would sit down. And they would look to the right hand side and they stand up. And the students would think, what's going on? What's Ustadh doing? Afterwards, one student asked, very respectfully, said, Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, we saw you teaching, and every time you looked to the right, you stood up. And you sat back down. And you looked to the right, you stood up. He said, why were you doing this? He says that the maqam of my teacher was on the right hand side. And whenever I would look towards the right hand side, I'd stand up. And this was the respect that they would have for the teacher. So I look to my left hand side, I'm have to stand up. Right? That was the level that they would have for the teacher. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, one day, a disbeliever had come with the niyyah of killing Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. And they had a dagger underneath their arm front. And they came and eventually killed. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz was an individual of spiritual insight. He knew exactly what this person was coming towards. He says to him, whatever you're going to do, I'm in front of you. At that moment of time, this individual trembled. He's thinking, how does he know I've come with the dagger? At that moment, the dagger fell from him, and he fell at the knees of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz. He repented and he took Islam. Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, on his death, on the night of his death, some pious people, they had mentioned that they saw the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in their dreams. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to their dreams. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all a vision of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came and he said in their dreams of the elderly people in that town that the keeper of my deen, the helper of my deen, Hassan, is coming, and I have come to greet him. And on the 6th of Rajab, the followers of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, they were sat in the masjid. They were waiting for Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz to come and lead them into Fajr. Time went on, time went on, time went on. And Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib did not come from their chamber. And the door opened, and they had realized that Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz had left this dunya. And everyone became overwhelmed. Right? This is their leader. They had passed away. And as they realized they had passed away, they went to see them. And it is said that the people, they saw something so beautiful that they never saw in their lives before. Something so radiant, something so extraordinary that was written on the forehead of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. It was mentioned, Habibullahi mata fi hubbillah, that the beloved of Allah has passed away in the remembrance, in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was the individual who spent all his life in the journey of seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what a beautiful death it was. So these individuals that we're remembering, they are not normal people. They are people that have spent their whole lives in tradition, in following the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They are individuals who are simple. They are individuals who invited 9 million people towards Islam. Right? That brings us into the point of da'wah. Think about 9 million people. How many hearts have we touched? How many people can honestly say that being non-Muslim, that we have touched their hearts? And we go to work 9 to 5. Dawah is not on getting a store in the marketplace like some sects do, and they give out leaflets and force Islam down them. That's not just da'wah. Your da'wah is on your commuting, on the bus, how you speak to the person who's driving the bus. Your da'wah is when you go to the coffee shop, you buy a coffee. Your da'wah is how you treat every single person on a day-to-day basis. It's not just restricted to giving someone a leaf and forcing it down their throats. It could be a smile. It could be saying something small. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the blessing of Sayyidina Khawajah Gharib Nawaz, we understand the beauty of this religion, we understand the beauty of following this religion perfectly, and He grants us the ability to follow in such a beautiful manner. Alhamdulillah.